What's going on, family? We're gonna share a little bit more and we're gonna get started. A little bit more and we're gonna get started. Okay, didn't necessarily want to do that. There we go. Alright, y'all, we're almost gonna get started here. If you're gonna tune in, please like and share this. You know, helps me, helps people around us. You know, I do this not for myself. I do this because it's helping people. And I know that it helps people. So please like and share this, y'all. Alright, cool. That's all good. Alrighty, family. As always, this is Brother Coasty at IALLG.com. We're always building bridges within to explore the world without. And I got two things. Well, yeah, we're gonna get started with the topic with one. Yo, shout out to Sus Viliano. Much appreciated on the mic tip. This is pretty cool. I ain't gonna lie, it's fun. It's cool. I've always kind of wanted one because I always see people talking into them. I don't know why I like it so much, but they're cool. I like microphones. So that's the first one. And the second thing, we're gonna get started today, right? And it's what and where is balance? What and where is balance? When it comes to these topics I speak in general terms because we have to recognize that we are dynamic beings. We're dynamic. We're not a one-size-fits-all kind of people. And, you know, your experiences in just your own particular makeup, your upbringing, all these different factors are determining where you're at currently. Because I'm going to tell you why. You know, most people say, well, you know, the past doesn't define me, and it kind of does. But it does not finalize the script. Okay? The past does define you, but it does not finalize the script. You are always free to change. However, the only way to change is by becoming aware of where you are and where you've been so that you don't repeat the cycles, right? And I go it full circle, so we're gonna kind of look like we're going away from it, but I promise you we're gonna come back. You need to find people in your life that don't sugarcoat your BS. You need to find people in your life that will call you out when you own some other stuff. This will allow you a more unbiased view of yourself. Okay. We can deceive ourselves, y'all. That's just it. We can deceive ourselves. And it's typically because we grow up and we see other people deceiving themselves. It's a learned behavior. Self-deception is. It's a learned behavior. But when you notice it, that's when you can begin to move away from that kind of behavior and move closer to yourself, to your true essence, to source, the source energy that resides within this vessel. And that's what you are. You are a sliver of the source, of source energy having this particular experience. So that brings us to the question, you know, what and where is balance? Balance is your ability to navigate in this realm in a way that continues allowing you to grow and develop. That's balance. At least that's how I view balance. Because balance to you may not look like balance to me, and balance to me may not look balanced to somebody else, right? You may be a person and your path and your decision is food freedom. And so for you, as you're moving towards that path, balance for you might be fasting 3 times a week. But for somebody who's not moving towards food freedom, maybe they're a heavy meat and starch eater, they just want to lose a few pounds. So for them, balance looks like, 1 or 2 meatless meals a week. So balance is all dependent on you. My channel, my mission is all about empowering you. And what that entails is we got to put the onus back on yourself. That is, we got to put the responsibility back on you. And you have to want to take on yourself as a responsibility. In fact, yourself has to be your number one responsibility. We're living in a world where it is normalized to give away the responsibility for taking care of yourself. There's nothing to feel bad about. We've all been duped. We've all been tricked. We've all been seduced into giving up our freedoms, giving up our rights, and giving up our own fiduciary duties, which is our own responsibilities to ourselves. There is no reason why we don't know how to garden and farm. There isn't any reason for us not to know how to distill water. There isn't any reason for us to not know so many things, except it was by design. It was by plan. For us to not have as much power, for us to not have the knowledge that we need to find our own sense of balance. See, a lot of the times we don't have balance in our lives is because we don't really have our own clear goals. And it's really hard to find balance when you're doing things that are not in your best interest or not in your interest in general. It's like people want to lose weight, right? They want to lose weight, but oftentimes the lifestyle is not of interest to them, of keeping the weight off, and that's okay. And so it's no surprise that they end up not being able to sustain it. It does not become something they can balance on their plate. And it's because it's not their actual interest. See, when you're finding balance, you have to find balance with the lifestyle and not the benefits. See, when you're setting goals, there's two ways to set goals. You can set beneficial goals, or you can set outcome-driven goals, or result-driven goals. Benefit-driven goals are goals that you are trying to reap a benefit, right? So, I want to lose 20 pounds, right? An outcome-driven goal, or rather a results or lifestyle-driven goal, that is a goal where you begin to implement something that you will not relapse on or give up on. Okay, so let's break this down. If you have an outcome-driven goal or a benefit-driven goal, once you receive this benefit, your desire to press forward and continue on stops. So you want to lose 20 pounds. Unless you adopt the mental attitude that is required and you begin to take interest in the habits, the patterns, the behaviors of going towards that goal, oftentimes you're going to end up having that goal again and again and again because you've not implemented a sustainable system for maintaining that benefit. For instance, if you've ever fasted for like a week or even like 3 days, you'll lose some weight. You lose some weight and you lose it fast. So if you're just trying to lose weight and you do it, but you really haven't taken interest in what it takes to keep that goal, you relapse. And I talked about that in my difference between change and transformation video. That is changing. But you haven't built anything that's sustainable. Therefore, you will relapse or you'll go back into your patterns. Lifestyle goals or behavioral goals is a way to begin changing, transmuting alchemizing your behavior into something different and new. In other words, you begin to transform your behavior. And in both of these things, the key thing is taking interest. You must begin to take interest in the things that you're doing, in your goals. If you don't take interest in what you're doing, you will always fall short. You will always fall short, and you'll find yourself relapsing. Because, like I said, if doing these things does not interest you, you're not gonna do them. You know, like, would you keep dating somebody after you're not interested in them anymore? You wouldn't. Would you continue eating the food after you taste it and you like, no, that's not for me? You wouldn't. Would you stay somewhere? I won't ask that one because people do, but inside, if you had wherewithal of your mind, would you stay places where you're not welcomed? You wouldn't. You'd leave. Or you'd have some kind of internal battle. You'd fight. You'd struggle. You'd force. But we all know that you can't force anything forever. Can't. Because forcing takes energy and you only have limited energy. Right? So you have to learn to take interest in your goals. And you know, that goes into what is balance. Balance is a sustainable lifestyle, in short. It's a sustainable lifestyle. Balance is not a set point. You don't just reach balance one day and, oh, I'm here. No. It's something that you continue to tweak and critique and work on. And the reason for this is because it's always changing, because your idea of what lifestyle you want to have typically changes or it evolves until you get to a certain point. And even then it might continue to evolve and change because, you know, we are source. And we're always expanding and we're always moving. Law of vibration, everything is in motion. So what you deem to be your perfect lifestyle or ideal lifestyle in a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, it may change, and therefore balance for you may change. It's also dependent on responsibilities that you have. Maybe you find it very hard to meditate an hour a day because it's hard to balance that with everything that you got going on, but maybe you can make time for 20 minutes a day. You've gotten balance now because that's more sustainable for your lifestyle. Okay? Where is balance? Where is dependent on you? I told y'all we're going to keep putting the onus back on you. We're going to put the responsibility back on you. We're going to empower you. You will be empowered, I promise. If you watch this channel, you're going to get empowered. Maybe you won't act on that power. Maybe you won't act in your power. But you will know that you have power. And whether or not you choose to ignore it, it's up to you. But you're going to get this power because you're going to get this responsibility. That's power, y'all. Recognize this. I know we're kind of going off the side a little bit, but responsibility is power. It is your ability to determine an outcome. When you're responsible for something, you get to directly determine the outcome. That is power. So I'm going to do this for the men in particular. A lot of men want power. A lot of men say we want power. If you do you want the responsibility? Recognize that, y'all. You have a great, the more power you get, the more responsible you must become. The more responsible you have to be. Otherwise, you don't just lead yourself to ruin. You lead everybody else that you're responsible for to ruin. This is important stuff, you all. And that's why when we talk about these things, I put the onus on you first, because if you can't be responsible for you, it would be foolish to expect you to be responsible for other people. It would be foolish to do so. And I know some people are like, well, you know, maybe I'm struggling on my own, but, you know, I got a team I'm working with, and that's cool. The question is always, it's oriented around sustainability. How sustainable is that? Will you be able to keep up this pace forever? And the answer is no. That's what the midlife crises are about. See, humans Us in this society, this conditioning it is so bizarre, because we don't recognize that when we don't practice delayed gratification, we're always looking for instant gratification. We don't see the ramifications of that down the line. We're in such a rush to get somewhere. We're in such we're so adamant about proving a point in the now that we don't pay attention to what's going to happen in the future. Look, I'm going to tell you, you start doing things now and it's not sustainable, you may be able to hold on to it for 5 to 10 years. We'll give it very small estimates. Most humans live to about 75 right now. So you do this for 10 years, that's a seventh of your life. You got 6/7 left to go. You got to think about it. Can you hold this up for 75 years? Can you hold it up for 40 years and be happy? Be at peace. Be confident about what you're doing. Can you? That's balance, y'all. Doing things that you can do for the long term, that does not take away from you, that's not this horrible fight or this internal struggle to continue doing. That's where the balance is at. It's in your mind, what you feel to be sustainable. And I gotta say what you feel to be sustainable, because ultimately what you think and what you feel will determine your reality. What you think and what you feel determine your reality. And therefore, if you don't think and feel that you can continue doing it, unless you get some outside motivating factor or some external factors, you're probably not going to be able to do it. So you got to start with yourself. And I tell you this is my tip in closing. Give yourself small goals. Give yourself small goals. Because what these small goals will do is it'll start inching you towards a different mindset, inching you towards a different perspective, inching you towards a more sustainable life. We have to remember, we didn't get here suddenly. We didn't end up in the behaviors that we have suddenly. We didn't get in these action habits suddenly. We didn't get in these patterns suddenly. It took gradual changes. And it took years and years of very small movements towards where we are now. This is our default now. You know, we're supposed to be a thumbs up, and right now we're a thumbs down. And it took us a long time to get to this point. So what's going to happen? We got to take small, gradual changes so that eventually we become up. And we're not so tempted to do this. We're not so tempted to make all this progress just to go, We have to make these small progressions, maintaining our balance so that we start shifting the narrative, changing our paradigm, transforming into who and what we were meant to be. We're undoing programming. And balance is your ability to sustain this new idea, this new program, this new ideology, this new goal, this new task. That's where the balance is found, in the middle of your life. That's it. It's in the middle of your life. What can you do for the rest of your life starting today that would not be a fight? I'm a believer in using leverage. Stop fighting yourself so much. There's no reason to fight yourself. If you got bad habits, you got bad habits. Only way to get rid of them for good is to slowly change them. Now there's some people like, no, you should go cold turkey. And you could do that, but I'm gonna let you know I've done that kind of stuff before. The moment you relapse once, boy, it's a steep hill going down. Like, you go deeper than you were before. It's because you've been repressing things. It's not repression. Repression is not a good thing. You know, my mentor, shout out to Iso. He's big on learning about not repressing things. Stop repressing. You have to have mental purity when you're changing things. If your mind does not become pure, it doesn't matter how much you restrain, how much you repress, it will always come to surface, and it will come with full force. Full force. So you got to recognize this, y'all. That's really in a nutshell, though. What and where is balance is what's sustainable for your life, and where do you want to go? You know, what are you able to do? And what are you willing to do? You must be willing and able. That will take you places so far, much further than what you can imagine. But if you just do things what you're able to do, but you're not willing, man, it's sad. It's going to be a bad outcome. In fact, I'm going to end this live, and I'm going to get on another one because we're going to talk about this idea of willingness. So thank you all for tuning in. This is Brother 𝐭𝐲 at IALLG.com. We're always building bridges within to explore the world without. Peace.